documents, and how I have to show the letter of change of status, my husband, how he can show his financial documents. So everything the lawyer has guided me how I can do that. And then after like a week of the discussion with the lawyer, I submitted my application on the USCIS website, and later on I received one RFE for my I-20, and my DSO helped me to get the new I-20. Then I got my visa approval, like in 2.5 months, I got my visa approval. So, on coming on the F1 visa, yes, I was very excited to join the university. So, on the F1 visa, before joining the university, before joining the classes, I had a word with my DSO, international advisor. She suggested me to apply the on-campus job uh, at the campus. I got the on-campus job. With that job letter, I applied for the social security number, and I also opened my bank account. Then, after working few months on campus, joining the classes, I was eligible for the CPT and coordinated my DSO regarding how I can apply for the CPT authorization. She guided me through the process, how I can apply that, and later on, I got a job offer letter from a US company, and later on, I applied for the CPT authorization. Then they asked me how this job is relevant with your study part. So I explained them. And at the end, yes, finally, I received my CPT authorization. I can cover my living expenses. I can cover my tuition fees. It's like financially is really helpful for as a family living in the US is very, very helpful for us. So working on the US, like on F1 visa, there are a lot of things we can get. Benefits are available on the F1 visa. H4 visa, I couldn't do anything. And the conclusion is yes, I'm so happy being on H4 F1 visa and doing a job and helping my husband, my family financially. So this is it from my side. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Shama. And do you mind going back to some of your slides? I do have a questions in terms of, let's go to the slide number 7.
Mhm.
Because you mentioned that you were able to work under CPT if you're using F1, but you wasn't able to have the right to work in the US. So did you research about F1 visa yourself, or where do you heard from that side of the information to know how to work in the US?
So when I decided studying in US, I was searching on the Google about how I can study on the H4 visa rules regulation, going through it. And on one of the university website, I get to know about how I can change my visa status from H4 to F1.
Mhm.
Then I read about a lot of on the USCIS website about the change of status visa, gone through a lot of articles, videos. Then at the end, yes, I apply for the change of status visa.
And also, for the duration, did you have the duration in mind? Like, how long did the change of status actually take for you to change from a H-4 to an F-1?
So, Ryan, at the starting, I didn't know how I can fill out the application because it's is related to the immigration part, and we have to be very careful at this part. So, I did a lot of research, and I was like reading articles, watched videos. So, yeah, slowly I understand how I can fill out the form, but still I need to hire a lawyer for that.
Mhm.
So I start searching for a lawyer, and then the lawyer helped me how I can change my visa status.
So how long from, like, since you hired a lawyer to you get approved of the F-1 visa and start school, like how many months would that be?
So first, searching a lawyer was a difficult task for me. It took almost a week to find out a right lawyer for my case
Mm-hmm.
because everything was new for me. And it was not easy to find a lawyer on the Google immigration lawyer for change of status visa from H4 to F1. It was not easy. So it took me 1 week, and then the process, they took only 1 day and 2 day to guide me the process of change of status. And at the end, on the second day or third day, we submitted the application on USCIS website. And And the after one month, I received the RAP for my new I-20. After uploading the new I-20, I got my approval in 1.5 months. Like total, the process took me 2.5 months to get the visa approval.
And you didn't do the premium processing?
When I submitted the application, that time premium process was not available. When I got my result, then the USCIS launched about the premium process.
Okay, okay, that's good. That's comparatively pretty fast. And speaking of a lawyer, we did have a lawyer, joining us, Joyce, who's gonna also do her part of the presentation to hopefully educate us a little bit more on the, F4 visa, F1 visa, which are all of these about, and also how to do a changes status application. So I will resume my screen share so that Joyce can continue your parts on the presentation to share. But before that, please introduce yourself to everybody.
Sure. Thanks, Ryan and Shama. So, hello everyone. My name is Joyce Rowe, and I'm happy to meet you guys online today. I am an attorney admitted to California State Bar, and currently as a founder and a managing attorney of Rohan Law Office. I practice law in Buena Park, Orange County, in California, and I'm specialized in immigration law. In fact, I'm from South Korea, and I'm used to be an international student for so long. So I genuinely understand each client's situation and their desire whenever I handle the immigration cases. And I've been handling a number of change of status cases. And today I'd like to help you guys by sharing my legal knowledge with you for the educational purpose. So today I'm going to talk about first. Oh, next page, please. Yes, thank you. So first, I'll talk about the current immigration regulation regarding H-4 status, and second, information about the change of status, and third, tips for filing Form I-539, especially from H-4 to F1 status. And last, I'll talk about the F1 status and CPT program opportunity. I'll give you a quick presentation and like to have your question through Q&A session. So as you guys know, H-4 status visa means that dependent visa or status for the spouse of H-1B or other relative visa holder in the United States. And duration of H-4 status would be the same as the duration of the primary holder, like H-1B holder. And it can be up to 6 years because after the initial 3 years of H-1B, a renewal of H-1B shall allow you to stay for additional 3 years. With H-1 status, you can attend the school as a part-time student, but the work authorization is not allowed except the two situation, which I'll talk about this in details next page. And without work authorization, H-4 holder cannot obtain the social security number either. But H-4 holder is able to open bank account or get the driver license. So next page here. Although I mentioned that H-4 holder cannot work in the United States in general, there are two conditions like situation allowing H-4 holder to work with the employment authorization document like EAD card. If first, H-1B holders Form I-140 is approved. Here, the Form I-140 is the petition filed by green card sponsor. Like if H-1B holder is taking step to get the green card and his or her I-140 is approved, then the spouse H-4 status is eligible to file Form I-765 to get the work permit. That is the first condition. And second, H-1B holder has been granted for H-1B status beyond the 6-year limit because H-1B holder takes step to get the green card by filing labor certification application or I-140 or I-485. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the green card process, but I can say that for green card process, there are like three main steps. The first thing was filing labor certification application, the LC step. And second, the sponsor need to file the I-140. And third, you guys need to file I-485 for the H-1B holder and the spouse and dependent. And here for the second condition, the law statement literally says that if before expiring the 6th year of your H-1B status, like at least 1 year ago, if H-1B holder begins the green card process by filing a labor certification application, then their spouse who is having H-4 status is applicable to get the work permit. So yeah, I mentioned two conditions when H-4 can apply for work permit, but this is technically saying that you can get the work permit when H-1B holder start the green card process. In other words, if you couldn't get the green card sponsor, there's no way to get the work permit as being an H-4 status. So if we go to the next page, just like Shama shared her story, I saw many H-4 holders concerning about status not able to work, and then who is considering other type of non-immigrant status. And if you are in this situation, then you may need to learn about the change of status. So to talk about definition, so USCIS allows that while residing in the United States, non-immigrant may change their non-immigrant status, especially when the purpose of your stay or the main primary activities change it, as long as such request is made before the current stay expires. And then to make a change of status, uh, filing form I-539 is required, and it should be filed with USCIS. And it requires a filing fee in the amount of $370. Actually, this fee is going to be up, like change it to $420 for online filing or $470 for paper filing, effective on April 1st of this year, very soon. And the processing time of change of status, Shama mentioned that you took about like 3 months, 3.5 months, right? It was very good. Processing time may vary depending on USCIS situation or several circumstances. But from my experience, I'll say that it takes about 3 to 6 months in general. But good news is that currently the premium processing is available, especially if you're change your status to F1, F2, M1, M2, J1, or J2. So this premium processing is require fee. Now this fee just has been changed. It just been increased last Monday. Since February 26th of this year, premium processing fee is now $1965. It used to be $1750 though. It changed it. But with the premium processing, you'll be able to hear the update, like a response from the USCIS about in 30 days. 30 calendar days. So to prepare filing I-539, I'd like to share a few tips with you guys. And then these tips is really focusing on the change status from H-4 to F1. Filling out the form I-539 accurately is indeed important, but at the same time, I'd like to ask you to prepare your personal statement explaining your purpose of change of status as the first step. So if you are thinking to change your status to F1, you should be able to explain why you desire to have the education in the United States. Especially if you already have obtained like the bachelor degree or master degree in the United States or in your home country, you have to think of like try to explain why you need to pursue additional education. So providing like statement about your motivation for further education, or try to highlight some good part about your life so that USCIS officer may be persuaded by your story. That is the first step you have to do. And then second, you need to collect the initial evidence for yourself and about your current status and your requesting status, which is F1. So for personal information, definitely we need to include passport, copy, visa pages, and I-94. And for your current status, main evidence is H-4 approval notice. And please include your initial approval. And also, in case you already get the extension approval, don't forget to get the copy of extension approval as well. And you have to try to show your history as being a non-immigrant in the United States entirely. So, like collect every evidence relevant to your non-immigrant status in the United States. And for your requesting status, for F1 status, you need to get the new I-20 from your school, and then don't forget to have your signature on the I-20 when you submit as evidence, and also put the new school's acceptance letter or collect the materials explaining your academic curriculum and the future classes. So include that as evidence as well. And you made a payment for applying for F1 status. So keep the Form I-901 receipt and proving that you are really make a payment to get the F1 status. And the next page, evidence of financial support. This is very important. We have to show that the proof of ability to pay for your like tuitions, living expenses, and in any accompanying dependent family member. So you have to show the direct access to funds to cover like everything. And the total amount of required funds may vary depending on academic institute or schools, but that information is indicated on your I-20, so make sure to find the required specific amount. And if you have your bank account in the United States, and if it has a sufficient funds, provide recent United States bank statement. That is very good evidence, is very beneficial. And if you have asset in your home country, like savings, stocks, real property, if you have any, submit those evidence as well as part of this section. And if you have your financial sponsor, they can submit affidavit of support, and anyone actually can be your financial sponsor. But if they are not your like parents, sibling, or relatives, stating like certain relationship between you and sponsor would be helpful for the USCIS review. And if you have a foreign bank statement and the statement does not show the value of funds in the US dollar, you need to indicate the values of your foreign funds as in the US dollar. And then to do so, you may utilize the currency exchange rate multiplier, which is available on the US Custom and Border Protection website. So that's also a tip. And next step, I'd like to ask you to show your intent to return to your home country. Uh, like if you have evidence indicating your address of your residence abroad, that is good. Like a utility bill, like it is good for you to prove that you've been maintaining your residence abroad so far while staying in the United States. So find a document indicating your address of your foreign country. And if you were residing with your family or friends in your home country, and then they can show your intent to go back to your home country, then they can submit the statement. They can submit a statement about your intent to go back to your country, and that will be very beneficial for your case approval. And then most importantly, filing I-539 before your current status expire is very important. And then especially you guys case like having the H-4 and you are able to stay here additional 1 or 2 years, but somehow you want to take the classes by changing F1 status, then target to get the approval received notice around 30 days prior to the starting date of your school. And once you obtain F1 status as being an international student, you may earn work experience by utilizing CPT and OPT. And then I briefly talk about the CPT here. CPT, curricular practical training, is a type of work authorization for F1 students who want to gain work experience in their field of study. So legally, you can gain work experience through employment, training, and paid internship as long as such an internship is directly related to their major area of study. So unlike OPT program, CPT does not require approval from USCIS. And if you are considering your advanced education at the same time, if you're really willing to involve in working experience, then you don't need to wait until to get OPT after completing your school, but CPT is also an available option for F1 students.
Sounds good.
So pretty much that'll be all for today's PT presentation.
Okay, I think before we wrap up, I do wanted to say CPT is a kind of like an exclusive permission for F1 students. So I think some of us who is under H-4 visa might be in school, might be studying previously, but I think H-4 holders will not have the permission to work to have any source of income at all. So I think F1 visa in this case would benefit from that CPT. And I think we do have some questions from our attendees asking specifically about H4. So yes, if you do have a questions, please shoot that in the Q&A section. We will collect all the questions and we'll start answering them for you. So let me just quickly switch the slides to the Q&A session. And yes, we did anticipate lots of questions. While you guys are typing in the questions, I do want to have a little bit of promotion. Our company Go Elite is actually hiring right now. We're seeking for English speaking education consultants or admissions consultants to help students enroll. So if you're interested in consulting with students and you have the background, please, find the job listing on Indeed when you search Go Elite or send your resume to hr@goelite.us, so we were able to take a look and hopefully connect with you as well. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and begin the Q&A session. So first question will be, hi, I'm currently on H-4 visa, and if I have to change it to F1 by going back to my home country and get the visa stamp, what is the process like? And do I need to start a change of status process with the I-539 or go with the consular visa?
Yeah, for this question, I can answer for that. I actually received this kind of question a lot from the H-4 holder. So either way is possible. Like you can do a change of status in the United States while residing here without going back to your country. You can file the form I-539 before your I-94 expire, or you can go back to your country to get the stamp, like to get the F1 visa, like getting the consular processing. But like I want to say that unless you are planning to like travel outside of the United States, going back to Korea, going back to your home country to do the consular processing is not necessary. Like a change of status here is allow you to stay here legally, like changing your status from H-4 to F1 or to non-immigrant status. So if you're like thinking visit your country often, then someday you have to get the stamp from your consular processing. But if you do not have a plan to do so, doing filing form I-39 in the United States and then process with the change of status would make you stay here legally without any concerns.
And also, as you mentioned, Joyce, in your presentation, that if the person filed the form before the previous status expires, then the person will be legally, able to stay in the U.S. even the previous visa expired.
Correct. So, assuming that you file like extension or change of status before your I-94 expiration date, and technically the person is allowed to remain in the United States for up to 240 days while your I-539 application is pending. So, like as long as you timely file the Form I-39 before expiring your current status, then like staying in the United States while you're getting the approval of notice, like while pending of I-539, there's no issue to reside here.
Absolutely. And let's go to the next question. I think Shama, would you be able to answer this one? I'm currently on H4. Can I join day one CPT but converting to F1 visa? And if so, do I need to wait for 1 year on F1 visa before I start my CPT?
Okay, so on the H4 visa, do you want to join the day one CPT school or after converting the F1 visa? On F1 visa, yes, you can join the day one CPT university. And what is the next, right? Do I
I
need to
think the
wait for
first
1 year?
question is can the person do change of status from H4 to F1 and then do day one CPT? I think you sort of answered that. And the second part would be, do I need to wait for 1 year on F1 visa before I start my CPT? Do you have any knowledge on that too, Shama?
Uh, I guess I am not right person to guide you on that because it's up to the university or the immigration lawyer will guide you when you can start the CPT. But yes, you can change your visa from H4 to F1 and join the D1 CPT school.
Yes, absolutely. You brought up a great point that because this is really a case by case scenario because not all programs are designed to be a day one CPT program. And also, if this program is a day one CPT program, it really depends on if you are eligible to apply. So let's say if you're a H4 holder, if you previously had a US degree, for example, if you did a US bachelor and then transferred to H4 visa, or you had a US master degree, any kinds of higher education degree, then yes, you're eligible to start CPT from day one. Absolutely. But if you haven't had any kinds of education in the US and applying for a day one CPT university might need you to get a language school, meaning that you might need to testify that if you are eligible to work, if you have the ability to work and study in the US. So you might have to go through the language test, and then also you can consult with the school to see if you are able to do the day one CPT. But if your previous education is verified and you pass the language test and the school can verify that you're able to work, then chances are very high that you can do day one CPT, even if you were a previous H4 holder. Okay, and you don't have to wait 1 year in that scenario. Okay, let's go to the third question. What is the difference between change of status and apply for H4 and apply for F1 visa, excuse me, and stamping? Which are the better option?
So maybe I can provide explanation. When I answered for number one, I think that slightly covered the answer for this question. But yeah, technically, change of your status is meaning that while you're residing in the United States, you are quite changing your status of being non-immigrant, like F4 to H1B or H14 to F1. You can change your status while you're residing in the United States. If you are planning to go back to your home country 1 year later, after your successful change of status here, then when you come back to United States, you have to go through the visa stamping process. Like COS, change of status, allow you stay here legally, but when you leave the United States, when you come back, you have to get the visa again for especially for F1 or anything. And that's why if someone is planning to back and forth, like the home country, then maybe it is good idea to start the visa stamping process, like without doing the change of status. Like if you get the visa stamp right now, then you don't need to do COS change of status filing separately. You can always travel outside. But some people who prefer stay here while like pursuing school or while working or while waiting for the green card process, if they want to stay here without not planning going back to your country, then change of status is more convenient method.
Sounds good. That is really a comprehensive answer. And hopefully, you have a better picture now of, when do you make your decision, if it is change of status or if this is going abroad to get the new F1 visa, whichever works better in your case. And next question, do I need to change the status H4 to F1 before joining the curriculum, or can I do it during the course of study? I think, Joyce, will you be able to also take a look at this as well?
Oh, it's for me? Oh, yeah, I missed it. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Do you want me
I
to
was
read out the
like,
question again?
yeah, do I need to change status H4 to F1 before joining the curriculum, or can I do it during the course of study? I was quite like having hard time to understand the question, so I was
So I
rereading.
think
Sorry.
maybe for somebody like Shama, you
Yes, I
wasn't.
can. Yes,
Yeah.
it is related to me. So I
Yes, can you
joined the
answer that?
university. Yes, I joined the school on H-4 visa after completing certain credit because my application was in process. So I joined on H-4 visa and I finished my 4 credits. Then I received my F1 visa approval. So my university, yes, allow me to uh, complete certain credits to get the CPT approval.
So
So
you
yes, you
did
can
do that.
join. Yes, you can join the school on H-4 visa later on, and you can change your visa status.
Interesting. And I think the next question is kind of related to that as well. So he wanted or she wanted to know, can I change status midterm? Change status to F1 midterm from H4. Was it like have to be like a semester, or did you like change your status during a semester?
So anytime student, whenever they want to change, as I understand the process, anytime they want to put the application for a change of status, they can do that. But it will require the new I-20 because the officer will see the class start date and class end date because they want to see the class start date. What is the latest class start date?
Mhm. So, in your case, did you fill out like a special application to the school as well when you're doing that?
So my school already guided me when I started the classes, and after that I submit my change of status application. We already discuss about the new I-20 whenever I will require the new I-20, so they will give me the I-20 as soon as possible. They can do that. So yeah, they gave me the new I-20 with a new class start date mentioned on the I-20.
Sounds good. Thank you, Shama, for that answer. And moving on to the next question, what if my application, I assume the change of status application get declined? Am I still in the H4 status?
So yes, if your H4 status was active, like you have like 1 year remaining, but you submit the form I-539 to change to F1, but it is declined, refused, then still you're able to stay here as being a H4, like until the date of expiration date of H4. But for the scenario that your H4 is like terminating in 2 weeks, and then you submit the form I-539, and 3 months later, like after 3 months of pending, you got the denial letter. That means that from the date of receiving denial letter, your status is like out of status. Like while it was pending, you were okay. But once you got the denial letter, you might notice that, oh, I'm out of status, so you have to go back to your home country.
Mhm. That's really a good example. I think you do have to be very cautious with this kinds of situation. Thank you for your explanation, Joyce. Moving on, what should I do if my H4 visa is about to expire, but I want to change to F1 visa?
Yeah, so I can answer this question too. So you have two options. Like if you see that your visa H4 visa is expiring, but still you have time to file form I-539, then you need to do so. Like if you're thinking to change your status to F1, you can rush to file form I-539 with sufficient evidence. Otherwise, if you don't want to do change of status process, then you have to leave your country. You have to leave the United States when your H4 expires, and in your home country, you have to prepare like a core step to get the F1 visa, like a restart to get the F1 visa.
Sounds good. And next question, I think it sort of touched on Shama's cases as well. So if my spouse is on a H-1B visa, if I do the change of status to F1 status, would it affect the spouse at all?
No, it won't affect on his status.
Yeah, so in short, the spouse will remain on the H-1B and it wouldn't really have any effect, so you don't have to worry about that. Is that right? Is that correct, Joyce?
Yes, correct. Yes, correct.
Okay.
No
Okay, that's
problem.
good. That's good. Moving on to the next question. Can I switch back to an H-4 after changing, to F1?
Of course, yes. So, like once you make a change of status from H4 to F1, but somehow later you want to go back to the status of H4, then the same process. You need to file the Form I-539 again to request the H4 status. So, let's get doing another process, but no problem to going back to H4.
Absolutely. And would that be a different form or would it be the same form if you want to change status to H-4?
Oh, the same form. Yeah, pretty much like for H4 or F1, F2. Yeah, those are requiring same format. So there's no problem.
But the evidence, would the materials be, a lot different if you wanted to apply
Oh, in terms of evidence,
for?
pretty much like same, but to going back to H4, it doesn't really require like your ability to pay the tuition or living expenses, right? So lack of evidence about the financial situation, that would be relatively not a big deal compared to the situation filing to F1. But you have to show the evidence that your spouse is still the holder of H1B. So your status as being H4 is really up to your primary holder, H1B holder's duration and then his condition. So always provide evidence having H1B holders valid status.
Sounds good. Thank you for your explanation on that matter, Joyce. And moving on, we do have a questions from a F1 student. So, hello, I'm an F1 student currently doing my OPT that will expire soon. What are the change of status options for me? And that will help me stay here legally.
Yeah, I do see this kind of situation a lot. So, your OPT is expiring in July. I don't know whether she meant that the termination date of OPT is in July. That means that she'll have a grace period up to 60 days.
Mhm,
So, meaning that she can stay in the United States by like around like September of this year, if we need to count the grace period.
mhm.
And if you're thinking to change your status, like to F1 or something else, you have to file Form I-539 before your grace period ends. So technically, like calculate your grace period accurately from the date of your expiration date of
In this
OPT.
case, Joyce, sorry to interrupt,
Mhm.
but in this case, would that still be a change of status application, or would that just be a transfer CVIS? Because the
Oh, I'm
person is
sorry. Yes,
already an
correct.
F1
If we
student.
correct, yeah, Ryan, you're right. So unless she's changing to different status, right? Like a different like H4, I thought that she's going back to different status.
Mhm,
But unless she's going back to different status, just like getting the transferring to school is like different thing. She just need to get the new I-20 from new school, like finding good institute is a proper key thing for her. So find a school and then get your new I-20 and then service record should be released to the new school.
mhm.
Thanks,
Yes.
Ryan.
I think
Yeah.
that would be one of the most common things that student would try to do is just to enroll into another program so you can extend your F1 status. So you will continue being a student. And with day one CPT, you do have the option to work up to full time. So which means you probably gonna have to pay a little bit of a tuition, but pretty affordable comparing to other universities. But with day one CPT universities, you have the ability to work under CPT. So that would be one of the options for you to stay here legally and even work here. And moving on to the next question, my wife has been an H-4 holder and has over 8 years of foreign work experience. Will getting an F1 visa and CPT be an issue? As she hasn't been a student for a long time. Have you seen CPT or OPT holders have issues when applying for a green card down the line, given such a profile? This is a very long but comprehensive questions. I think it does contain a lot of information. I think, Joyce, will you be able to answer that from your perspective as well?
Sure. I don't know whether I understood this question correctly, but seems like she has been an H-4 holder, and she also had experience of a foreign worker experience,
Mhm.
and then getting F1 OPT. So I don't want to say that she has an issue to get the green card process, as long as she haven't violated any terms of non-immigrant visa regulation. So having work experience here while using like CPT or OPT and getting green card, that doesn't mean that she violate some regulation, right? Like she was legally allowed to work for here, like CPT utilizing OPT. So that fact doesn't really make you prohibited to get the green card process. But definitely to get to answer yes or no, I need to see the entire circumstances. So if you have any further question, I recommend you to contact to go lead or me. But yeah, to this question, I said that it's possible to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. For this question, I do want to add two things. The first thing is that uh just because you had a work experience for a long time or you haven't went back to school for a while, that doesn't disqualify you for being an F1 student. It's because you can always have the intention to study in the US to learn new things to help to help to take the next step for your US career. If you wanted to get the MBA or the doctoral program to help you better, grow in terms of your career, you can always do that. So there wouldn't be no barrier in terms of, your work experience or how long have you not, coming back to the school. But also, my second advice is that if your case is complicated, you can scan the QR code on the WhatsApp code so I can connect you to Joyce to do a consultation with Joyce so she can help you better understand this situation, or you can just send me a message if I could help you. I'm happy to help you on WhatsApp as well. So moving on to the next question. I'm on H1B, which is ending in August 16th. I'm completing my 6 years, so I don't have my I-140 approved. Can I convert to day one CPT now to recapture time? And if my employer files green card and I-140 get approved, can I convert back to H-1B, Joyce?
Yes, also require like a legal consultation about this case. But technically, I would say that yes for this question. And then the thing is that with the CPT program, you'll be able to continue your work experience, while especially when you're expecting the green card sponsorship from your employer, then it's good. So if I give you more tip, like while you're having the maintaining F1 like status, you can get the green card sponsorship from your employer, and then you can continue your green card process while maintaining your F1 status validly. So that means that the sponsor is really like trying to hire you upon your completion of your study. So there's no problem to continue your green card process while having your own F1 status. So answer is yes. And then if you have a more fact that I should know for the further response, please let us know. Like you can contact me for the further consultation.
Yes, absolutely. And I think we did see some of the cases where the person have their I-140 already approved and got laid off. So the person wanted to change to F1 visa. And in that case, you will want it to be more careful. But if you haven't got your I-140 approved yet, that means you haven't have any immigration intent yet with the green
Correct.
card application. Is that correct, Joyce? Yes,
That's correct.
I'm
That's a good
I'm
one.
happy to share
Mhm.
a little bit about that side of some students' experience as well. So moving on to the next question. My husband's employer has started the I-140. Just as I mentioned, this kind of cases, currently he has received prevailing wage field approval. Can we apply for H-4 EAD in this case?
Oh, yes. So I don't know which year they are on of their H-1B status. In general, if they really haven't reached the 6 year of H-1B status, but they just start the I-140, then they have to wait until to get the approval notice of I-140 for the spouse to file the EAD card. But if this is happening like 1 year prior to the expiration date of 6 year of H-1B, then technically by the fact that you file the like labor certification application really allow your spouse to file for a work permit. So I can't say yes or no based on this question, but pretty much like it seems like you have a good story. Like if you get the approval letter from the I-140, then technically, yes.
Okay, thank you for that, Joyce. Moving on to the next question. My husband's employer will start green card process in this year, October. I'm planning for master's. Would you recommend changing to F1 or continue on H4 to wait for EAD? Looking at current timelines for EAD. But this person is not looking at day one CPT school. So I think maybe we can provide like a general timeline of, the start of green card process to actually getting that I-140. So how long would that process be?
I see, I see. So for green card process, many factors are really relevant to tell you about the processing time. But like if we think that he's getting green card through the employment sponsorship, I would say that in nowadays at least like 1.5 years or up to 3 years. So if you are not thinking about the CPT program, like utilizing CPT program, then maybe you can just continue as H4 and then wait until you have a chance to file for EAD card. But if you're quite like rushing to be engaged in the work experience while waiting for the moment that you can file for EAD card, then considering changing your status to F1, that also an option for you.
Sounds good. Thank you for that answer, Joyce. Next question. Can I transfer to a different university after my F1 visa stamp is done? Before the class start date. I think for
Technically,
yes,
yeah,
for
go
this
ahead,
one, you
Shama.
wanted to
Mhm.
answer this one, Joyce?
Oh, I thought that Shama was going to answer. I'm sorry
Oh,
about that.
do you wanted to answer this one, Shama? Sorry, excuse me. I didn't hear about what.
Sorry.
Can you repeat that question?
Can I transfer to a different university after my F1 visa stamping is done? That's before the class start date.
I guess I'm not the right person to give this answer.
So if I'm getting that right, this person get the F1 visa under certain school, but wanted to change to another school, but he hadn't started the classes yet. So technically, yes, I think technically you can transfer to another school, but it's just that you have to better communicate with both schools to avoid any, risk or penalties from the first school because if you haven't started classes yet, they have to release your I-20 to release your CVIS record to the other school so that they can have your new I-20. So I would really recommend you to talk with the previous school if they are able to do that before you carry out this decision. But if you do have this kind of questions, I recommend you to scan the QR code to talk to one of our consultants. So maybe we can connect you with the people with the right, information on that. And I think this is our last question. If I am on F1 and if my spouse gets I-140 approved in some time, can I go back to H4 and file for my EAD?
So I can answer for this question. So it seems like that the person has F1 while her spouse has a H1B, and then finally they're gonna get the approval of I-140. Yes, the answer is yes. You can go back to H4, even you're maintaining F4, F4, F1 status. You can go back to H4, and then you can utilize the option that you can file for EAD card.
And do you have any picture of how long would that filing process be?
Oh, you mean that to go back to H4?
Yes, from like because I know that if you go back to H4, could you do premium processing or no?
Oh, yes, premium processing is available nowadays. So
Okay.
by applying for premium processing, you'll get the response in 30 days.
Okay, sounds good. And in this case, if your spouse does get the I-140, which means that you are able to, if you want to change your status to H4 and get that EAD card pretty soon, I would say.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I need to revise the answer. I was confused. Premium processing to H4 is not available. I'm sorry about that. So,
Oh.
so yeah,
Thank you for your
I just
quickly addressing
confused.
that.
Yeah.
I hope
So,
we didn't provide the wrong answer to the person that
right.
if you do want to do that, that is okay. Like you can get the AAD card
Mhm.
eventually, but normally you're looking at somewhere around like 3 to 6 months to complete the changes status
Correct.
processes, and then you will wait a little bit more to get the EAD card, but after that you should be good. Thank you for your explanation, Joyce. I think this is really helpful. And I think let me just double check if we do have another questions. I think we're good in terms of all questions. And I do see in a Q&A session that somebody wanted to know more about which lawyer did Shama went with. So if you're gonna scan the QR code, we can connect you with Shama so you can talk to Shama about which decision she made and who did she contacted. And hopefully we answer everybody's questions. And thanks everyone for joining today's webinar. We look forward to help you and see you in the next webinars. So thank you, Joyce, and thank you, Shama, for hosting this webinar with me. This is really great and educational, and hopefully we see each other pretty soon. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for attending. Bye-bye.